Moral, Social and Cultural Studies, Volume 1, Grade 5, Lesson 4, Ancient China, Shang and Zhou Dynasties. From this lesson, we are discussing about what do you think life was like in ancient China? How do you think the kings ruled? What did the money looks like? Yes, by the end of the lesson, students will examine the dynasty system in ancient China, identify an example of monarchy as a type of government, explain basic economic concepts of wealth and poverty. Key vocabulary: government, monarchy, inheritance, hierarchy, wealth, poverty. Definitions: government, the system by which a government is ruled. Monarchy, a government which a royal family such as sheikh or king. Inheritance, something that is passed from one member of a family to another, usually when they die. Hierarchy, an organization of things or people from high level to lower levels. Wealth, having money or possessions. Poverty, not having money or possession. Let's begin the lesson with a warm-up activity. The pictures below are objects from the Zhou dynasty. Were used every day in China over 2000 years ago. What do the pictures show? These objects were used for the same thing. What do you think they were used for? Discuss. The pictures below are from the Zhou dynasty. They were used every day in China over 2000 years ago. The objects shown are early types of coins in Zhou dynasty in China. They are in the shape of fish and knives. East Asia, where China is located, is made up of rivers, deserts, and high mountains. These geographical features protected the people in China because they were hard to cross. Much of modern day China is still isolated from the rest of the world. Small settlements of people in the isolated areas developed their own unique languages and culture without outside influence. Over time, they were brought together and ruled by an emperor. China was so big and had so many resources. They did not need to trade with other countries to have the resources they needed. As a result, many cultural traditions developed that are still practiced in modern times. It was one of the most advanced civilizations of its time. Education, arts, music, science were highly prized. Gunpowder and use of iron began here. The Shang dynasty. Other ancient civilizations developed around rivers. In China, the Yellow River area shows ancient people settling. In the Yellow River area, there were terraces with rice farming from about 5000 BCE. This allowed people to settle in villages. Later, these led to the rise of more complex organized societies, including the dynasty system we started in China over 4000 years ago. The Shang dynasty in ancient China was an absolute monarchy. That means a king ruled alone. About 30 kings ruled the Shang dynasty over 600 years from 100 to 1050 BCE. 1600 BC. Shang Tang founds the Shang dynasty after overthrowing the legendary Xia dynasty. They made objects of durable materials that have been found in tombs during excavations. They also wrought symbols of bone and bronze vessels. We know lots about the Shang dynasty from archaeological remains and written documents. Chinese legend says that the founder of the Shang dynasty, Chang Chang, overthrew the Xia dynasty to take power. But there is no definite proof of the Xia dynasty's existence. They made objects of durable materials that have been found in tombs during excavations. They also wrought symbols on bones and bronze vessels. 1400 to 1200 BC, the earliest found examples of Chinese writing are dated to around this time. The first writing system, yes, is ingredable writing system. Use symbols that were ingredable of bronze items and bonds. These bonds are usually called dragon bonds because the Shang used them for fortune telling. They inscribed cuisines they believed spirits or dead ancestors would answer. Because of these bonds, we are known now a lot about the Shang today that we otherwise would never have known. There are more than 4,000 characters in the Chinese language. Chinese writing is based on signs rather than sounds. There is no alphabet because of it is every sign or character must be learned by heart. The strokes that make up each character must be written in the correct sequence or order. Early Chinese writing was the form of picture symbols. Over thousands of years, the characters gradually changed shape and new writing tools were used. Paper was invented and people simplified the writing styles. Chinese calligraphy, that's a beautiful writing, was an art form and calligraphers were highly respected. They needed years of practice to learn the thousands of characters in the Chinese language. Their studies were based on the copying the work of ancient masters. Because there are more than 40,000 characters in the Chinese languages. Dragon-born medicines. Thousands of years later, people used these bones in the 19th century in traditional Chinese medicines, which were grounded up and used in tonics and creams to treat illness and soothe wounds. These dragon bones had been dug up and reburied by Chinese farmers for thousands of years. They did not know they were writing on them. Why do you think dragon bones were used in Chinese medicine? What special qualities would you expect dragon bones to have? What else to do you know about traditional Chinese medicine? There's more. Wang Yong's story. In 1889, a collector of Chinese bronzes called Wang Yong brought a number of these dragon bones from an antiques dealer. It is reported that when Wang was sick with malaria, he and his friend Louis studied the dragon bones before they were ground into powder. They noticed that they had writing on them, which matched the writing on Wang's bronzes. The bones from oaks cleaned and used as paper 3,000 years ago. Oracle bones. What is oracle bones? Let's discuss. Further study revealed that the dragon bones were in fact oracle bones, which were used in divination ceremonies by Shang priests and kings to foretell events in the future. Archaeologists learn a lot about the Shang dynasty kings from ancient writing on bones called oracle bones. If a king wanted to make an important decision, he would have the choices of the decision writing on bone. The boards would be put close to a fire until the boards cracked. The choice written in the cracked place on the board was supposed to be the one of the kings to follow. Because bronze is a durable material. Many items made by Shang bronzesmiths have survived to this day. Although bronze was a very important material, it is believed that it was mainly used by the upper classes during the Shang dynasty because not many everyday tools made of bronze have been found. Instead, shades and shovels were often made of stone. Many vessels were made of ceramics. The Shang was used silk and they knew how to spin wool and weave fabric. Although none of the fabric remained today, we know that they used because of inspiration made on oracle boards. By studying the ancient bonds, we can see the problems of Shang dynasty kings were facing. We can see what choices the kings were trying to make. This shows us a lot about the lives of people at the time. 1046 BC. The slaves revolt in protest of cruel treatment and increasing taxes, and Shang dynasty is overthrown and the Zhou dynasty begin. In the next dynasty in China, the Zhou dynasty, the government adopted a feudal system. The large kingdom was divided into smaller parts. The parts were ruled by relatives of the king called lords. Each lord controlled his land but was himself controlled by the king. The people who lived on the land were called peasants. They grew crops and gave parts of their crops to the lords. The lords protected the peasants who lived on their land. Over 2000 years ago, places in China started using coins. First, they were seashells. Later, they made coins out of the metal bronze. The first metal coins in China were in the everyday shape. Some places had coins in the shape of spades, knives, and some even fish. Later, they made round coins. The coins often had holes in them. The holes were so people could keep the coins on a stick or a string. Drinking cup, vessels with spout, ritual ladle, bronze, and other materials. The soil around the Yellow River was very fertile and it was easy to grow food there. This meant that fewer people needed to farm the land. Instead, workers could specialize in other areas such as bronze casting and jade carving. Made vessels for cooking and serving food and drink during religious rituals. They also made weapons like daggers and axes, as well as helmets, musical instruments, and fitting for chariot. Investigating artifacts. So vessels, oaks, comb, knives, altar set, board with inscriptions. What were they made from? What were they used for? The coins were needed, a trade became more important. Trade led to a market economy. A market economy has an exchange of things. Coins could be given to people for things they made. In the Zhou dynasty, the highest level were the state rulers and their ministers. The rulers had a lot of wealth from inheritance. Inheritance are things passed from one person to another. For example, when a father dies, his house and money may go to the one or more family members. The rulers collect large amounts of money through taxes on trade. However, a bigger economy meant new jobs. People were needed for the economy to develop. One group was the peasant farmers. The peasant farmers grew the food the people needed. Their wealth came from what they grew. Peasants, farmers could own land. A second group were the craftsmen. Craftsmen were needed to make things people needed, things like weapons for soldiers or tables and chairs for houses. However, an important group were the merchants. Merchants traded products. They would buy goods in one area or city and then sell them in another city. Merchants were a class of people in ancient China. This is because they did not own or make anything. However, their trade could make them very rich. This wealth let them buy land and get more importance. Servants were the lowest group. They lived in poverty as they had no wealth or property. Answer the question from the reading the text below. What is the main difference between the government of the Shang and Zhou dynasty? In the Shang dynasty, what did the king use the oracle bonds for? Why did Chinese coins have holes in them? Why were merchants seen as a low class? Answers. What is the main difference between the government of the Shang and Zhou dynasty? Yes, the Zhou dynasty used the feudal system. In the Shang dynasty, what did the king use the oracle bonds for? Yes, it's for making decisions. Why did Chinese coins have holes in them? Is to keep them together easily. Why were merchants seen as a low class? Because they solve things. Match the following. Monarch, it means a person who rules a country, such as a king, queen, or emperor. Dynasty, a line of ruler of a country. Hereditary means passed down from parent to child. Lord, person who ruled smaller part of land but was ruled by the king. Ruler, it means collected taxes from the people. Peasant farmers sell what they grow. Merchants buy and sell things. Craftsmen made things that people needed. Servants don't have any wealth. The government of the Zhou dynasty used a hierarchical system called feudal system. That is king, lords, and peasants. The text describes different ways that people got wealth in ancient China. Ways to getting wealth? What does well let people do? Discuss. Compare the ways people get wealth. What ways can people get wealth now? What does having wealth let you do? Answer for these questions. Ways of getting wealth: inheritance, taxes, growing and selling food, making and selling things, trading things. What does wealth let people do? Become rich, buy land. You can add more points. Some examples, answers for the wealth in modern day life are given below. You can add more points. What ways can people get wealth now? Working to for a salary, owning your own business, providing a service for someone such as a taxi or something. What does having wealth let you do? On property, travel, buy products, save for your future, pay for and on your education. You can add more points. Thank you.